My name is Bola Ahmed. There's no two way to define the action of the government than an abuse. It's an abuse on the generality of Nigeria, because the problem is not about removal of subsidy, but what are the things the government is putting in place to caution the effects of the draconian decision of the government. If you agree with me, the issue of subsidy did not start yesterday. It as far back as 80s, because the history of fuel subsidy is dated back to 70s. And the major reasons why we have subsidy is to ensure that Nigerians have the resources, to buy the petrol. Subsidizing the lives of people is not limited to Nigeria. It happens in every part of the country. So, and if we even look at the ideological definition of subsidy, it's just a financial support by the government, on some activities or social and economic activities of the people to grow the economy. It's not necessarily to be the generality of the people. The subsidies can be for selected individual of people, it can be for industry, it can be for organizations. But majorly it's always centered on economic, cultural, and social rights of the people, so that the people can have the financial capacity to enjoy those services or rights. So the decision of the government to remove or to announce the removal of subsidy is a draconian decision in a capitalist society. And as we all know that the peak of capitalism is imperialism, by that decision Nigeria has moved very close to imperialist society. The effect is obvious to everybody, because the kind of economic system we practice, virtually the cost of every commodity is connected in one way to the other to the cost of petrol, because transportation plays a very significant role in distribution of wealth and resources in the society. In as much as the government failed in some critical, or the important phases of social and economic activities, the effect of removal of subsidy is going to be much significant in the society. For example, do we have quality infrastructure? Infrastructure in our state or in our country. Look at the state of our major road, the economic roads, the roads that connect one state to another, the road that connect the manufacturing society to the market. You look at that. Aside from that, you look at the state of our transportations. What kind of transportation are we having in the country? Yes, the government will say that they are coming up with rail transport, but how effective is the rail transport? So, looking at that, you don't need someone, or you don't need any oracle to tell you that that is going to have very, very bad effects. It's going to have a very bad effect on the generality of the people, because it's going to have multiplier effect on the price of commodities, the essential commodities in the market, and as a result, the masses is going to suffer the brunt of everything. There's no way you can discuss forex markets in isolation of this fuel we started with. because both are like sides of coins and both have effect on the other. Because firstly, I was about talking about the history of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. If you look at the history of fuel subsidy, one of the major reasons why we have problem with our economics is when we have decline in the price of crude oil, corruption and then mismanagement of resources that led to the death of our what do you call it, our refineries, that now led to exportation of crude oil, and we started swapping crude oil for refined oil, and this is determined by the dollar. As you know that they are in the cost component of petroleum or refined oil, it has some fixed price. The cost of crude oil is not determined by a country. We have OPEC. Are you getting that? So from there, you can now look. You can easily understand the relationship between the issue of subsidy and the issue of forex exchange market. Now, coming to that, that also has its own history, because between 1960s, maybe to 1960 to 1970 or whatever, Nigeria was having fixed exchange rates. There's nothing like a parallel rate or black market or whatever. But when we have the issue of structural adjustments program, SAP, that very draconian imperialist policy that was enforced, or let me say that our leader, our leader, out of their wickedness, out of their insensitive, out of their lack of ideology, adopted such draconian policies. That's the beginning of our problem, because at that time the value of naira, the value of our currency has to be we have to devalue the Nigerian currency, that is the naira. So it gave room for black markets. So now to not get a stage that the government are saying that they are coming out with one reform, that in the reform there's a parallel market, the official rate will be using for the importation of essential commodity, whereas we also have another black market. Even recently, they also come up with multiple exchange rates, where we have black market, we have official rate, and we have importer and exporter something trade. All these things, it has the history, but everything goes down to corruption, mismanagement of resources, and lack of economic ideology. There's no clarity on type of resource, ideology and economic ideology we are practicing. We may claim that we are practicing democracy, capitalism, and capitalism without any productions. You get it? So, looking into the two, you see that these two policies or these two issues, they are issues that I can call it a flashpoint of class war, because the two programs or the two issues is going to enrich ruling elites, why continue to suffer the masses. So meanwhile, but in reality, like some of us in the labor union, even from back to 2010, that later led to the protest of 2012, labor position is not that you should not remove subsidy. The labor position has been that do this, do that, do this. If you can do all these things, yeah, you cannot remove the subsidy, because we all know that subsidy itself is a scam. It's a conduit pipe that our ruling elites are using to continue satisfying their greed with our collective resources. So that's all these things that the labor union are asking the government to provide. Have they done it? And these are the simple things: infrastructure, our refineries, bring it back. They talk of the welfare of the workers, health, education, all those things. But are they doing it? They are not doing any of it. and we woke up one day during the inaugural speech of a newly elected government, and the first thing that it can give Nigerians is removal of subsidy. And coming to your questions, yes, there's no way. We just have to ensure that we have fixed rates, because if there's any way that Nigeria has continued to enrich people, is through this forex. Because it is a policy that you can become a millionaire in a day if you have the right connection, where the central bank or the banks will provide you dollars at 460. You take it to black market, you sell it for maybe 700 naira, you make millions of naira, and return the dollar. Returning the money. The dollar rate to the CBN, and that is why some of the foreign investors are leaving the country, especially the airlines, the foreign airlines. It's one of the major problems Emirates is facing, and some other airlines are also facing it. What are the problems? You said if you want to do transaction in Nigeria, you should use naira. People will now buy their services in naira at equivalent official rates. So when these people now ready to transfer their money to their country, you said that the CBN does not have dollar, they should go to black market and source. When they sell their services to the people at 460, 700. So that is part of the statement Tinubu made during that fabulous inaugural speech, that the repatriation of the of fund. Yes, we have many foreign investors that they could not transfer their money to their countries because they cannot continue operating at loss. So how is government going to solve this problem? The only thing now is to devalue our currency more. So Nigerians will stop listening to Kiari of NNPCL that the price of petrol will come. Immediately they remove, they devalue naira. These people should expect the price of petrol to go up. I'm not talking about the long time, but at short term, immediately they remove subsidy, they devalue naira, the price of petrol will definitely go up. Maybe the introduction of Dangote refinery may now have something to play. But the price of crude oil is not measured in naira, it's priced in dollars. So if you now devalue naira from 460 official rate to 630 or whatever amount they put it, there's no magic in that. You expect increase in the cost of petroleum. Maybe later on things might not come back, but at the beginning. So these things, the government as a responsible and responsive government should have waited and have discussions, because now another factor that the labor is frowning at is that this government handles labor. NLC, TUC, they are the true representative of the people. Forget about the National Assembly, whatever. They are members of the people putting us into the problem. Because they are members of the people that continue using our resources to satisfy their greed. But labor union is another ideological union with members cutting across every classes of the society. So the position of labor, labor is supposed to be part of discussion. Not that after making decision, and you are not saying that labor, you are inviting the labor to come and discuss. And that's one of the points labor has been saying, that there's no transparency. Because now, nobody can say for now whether the present price of the petrol as released by NNPCL, whether it is measured, whether it is in line with the black market rate or official rate. That has to be in discussion, because people have argued it. I think the government used the official rate of 460. That price should not get to that. 500 and something. It shouldn't be more than 300 to 400 naira. But after you have making decision and you are saying no going back, you are now inviting labor to come and have discussion with you. It's like after you have sentenced Nigerians to death, and you are now saying that Nigeria will come, let us discuss. What you are calling up for that, let us discuss the kind of death you want us to subject to. Nobody is saying we should continue with the subsidy. But let there be transparency. That transparency will now give us the hope that whatever revenue from this subsidy is going to be used for the social economic services of the people. Dangote refinery will do one thing. Dangote refinery will strengthen the satisfaction of greed of the ruling class. You know, I said something earlier. I said this is a class war. In a capitalist society that is moving closer to the imperialist society, you should expect a class. What I mean by class war is that class conspiracy, the conspiracy of the ruling elites to strengthen their economic power at the expense of the masses liberation. So Dangote refinery we have may have, the people should not expect significant changes in the price of the oil, because the only thing that may probably reduce is the cost of importation. And what is the cost of importation? I'm talking about 20 something naira per liter, which is very insignificant. Maybe some other little because the component cost of refining petrol, majority of it are fixed. So Dangote refinery will definitely has its own impact, but not that significant. Because if truly they want to deregulate, the regulation is not about monopolization and someone is now determined. No, it's about allowing people, the investor, to now come in. So that if you as a person, you say, I have 3 million, I want to be selling petrol, you can just go and source for the petrol. So Dangote, and another thing, another fear I have is that, you know, one of the problem Nigeria fuel, the Nigerian petrol, one of the problem we'll be facing concerning this petrol is that there's something we call in economic dumping. Dumping is selling your product in another country at cheaper rates. What I mean by cheaper rates is that, you know, this larger part, or let me say significant part of this refined petrol are sold to outside Nigeria. And these Tinubus also he know that, because he said it in one of his pre-campaign, his campaign something. He said we cannot continue to subsidize fuel for Niger, for Cameroon, for Chad. But what is government doing about that? Because all these things, they will tell you, they have sweet mouths, we do this, we do that. Yes, but our whole concern is that what is government is going to do? How is government going to ensure that our resources will not be selling in the black market outside the country? So when they remove subsidy, so definitely it's going to affect some of these business, some of these black marketers, because they won't be able to carry the fuel and go and sell. Because what is making them to go and sell outside Nigeria was that they will be able to sell lesser than the amount they are selling it in those countries. For example, now maybe the equivalent amount they are selling fuel in Ghana is 550 naira to naira, and in Nigeria where we have subsidy, you can get it as 180, let's say 200. You can even take it to Ghana and sell it at below price than the official price in Ghana. Maybe you are selling, you're not saying like let me say 400. They make their profit and they will sell more. That's why the labor has been asking for data. Let us have the data about the subsidies. How many liters of petrol is Nigeria and Nigeria consuming? There's no data. Because some people are just sleeping in the house and collecting money. So it is the evil involved in it. It is not that everybody knows that subsidy is taking up backward. But there must be transparency and accountability in the process of removing it. And that is what is going to guarantee Nigerians that these people really mean good for us. So I'll just appeal to Nigerians that they should not expect Dangote refinery to come and make any miracle. Firstly, Dangote as a businessman, even I can even say it, because of Dangote operation is the reason why they quickly remove the subsidy. Because Dangote will never make that mistake of selling fuel in a subsidized environment. Because Dangote will not like to trade, will not like to do business with the government. I will not be expecting when government will pay me my subsidy. He prefer to deal with the masses. That's what capitalism is all about. Capitalism is that a few people will ready to continue milking the majority of the people. Dangote will prefer to do business with you and I, that we don't have any power, we don't have access to any state instruments to challenge his monopolistic strength. So I want to believe, that picture where Dangote made before Tinubu, he was asking him, Oga, when are you removing subsidy? And Dangote will wait to see that market has been stabilized. I can now come in. Then it's a point that July may come down and Dangote may not start the operation. Because if you see that the market is not stable for him to come in. And well, Dangote is the owner, but I want to believe that Dangote refinery is an asset of the ruling elite. You see now, immediately Tinubu was the clear winner. Tony Lumelu has hosted him. Tony call him the last man standing. Maybe the last man, the last investor standing among the politicians that we now used to, we know that. So the last man standing, what do you call this? Otedola has met with him. Dangote has even become like his 5 and 6. And these are the people controlling the economy of the country. So Nigeria, this is the time that Nigeria should not just go and sleep and think that Tinubu has come and everything is going to. No, this is the right time we all have to get our boots together. And marching. Yeah, that's what democracy is all about. Challenging the decision of the ruling elites, challenging their conspiracies. Remove the subsidy, they remove the subsidy for the interest of the people. If you define performance in line with class struggle, class conspiracy, they will perform. Because they have the templates, they have the checklist to measure their performances. They have their targets. So, but if they are defining needs of the masses, they are not known to us. And even this announcement is only after they announce. Everybody has known that Gbajabi Amila is going to become the speaker. And he's going to become the chief of staff. Because he has been acting in that capacity. Immediately Tinubu was announced and the inauguration was getting closer. He has been moving, he has been working, his dressing has even changed, like chief of staff. But the truth is that Gbajabi Amila has been in the rep. This is 6th time. So I'm not from his constituencies, but I think if we can get to the people of constituency, but Nigeria is, what am I even saying? He was a speaker, or he's a speaker because he has not left that position. The speaker of Nigeria. Nigeria is his first constituency. What are the bills? What are the reforms we've witnessed under his leadership? Yes, he has that capacity, to maintain decorum in the assembly. If not recently, when he had issue with Wasi. Gbajabi Amila speakership has been able to ensure some level of decorum in the National Assembly, and you barely hear Gbajabi Amila out having issue with the presidency. They are only I don't just know why all eyes is on Senate. House of Rep is more is not even rubber stamp. it is the stamp in the hand of Buhari. So they will perform based on the mandate given to them. The person of chief of staff is the chief of staff to the presidency. So we perform. Secretary General will also perform. Before we can know how they are going to perform, but we know that already they are coming to protect the interests of the president and the presidency. It is not to protect the interests of Nigerians. So when we now begin to see other appointees from the minister to SA to a leader, head of MDAs, we cannot talk of performance. But their primary performance is to protect the image of the government, of the president and presidency. And we should not expect that they will not perform. They will perform in that capacity. But in other capacity that has to do with the people, let us wait and see the other appointments as they come and have the clear view of their programs, different from their campaign promises. Because campaign promises, you can even make promises under drugs, under the influence of drugs. It's true. No, politician, you cannot be running from one campaign to the other without having something to put. You will lose everything now. That is why you see among them, Atiku, Obi, Tinubu, most of them they beef. You know, it's not something easy. It's not something easy. So campaign promises is campaign promises. Now let us now see their policy documents. Let's have the clear view of their program and policies. So when we have that, we can now see they perform or they will not perform. But Gbajabi Amila, Akume, I think they will perform in their primary assignment of protecting the image of the president and presidency. It's going to do something different. When something is different does not mean that it's good. Do you get it? Tinubu is a strategist and is a capitalist to the core. It's an imperialist to the core. Tinubu is coming to open market, to open the economy for his peers. Yes, and this is going to serve the interest of imperialist society like IMF. You will begin to see that IMF will be praising Nigeria now. Because in the name of economic liberations, you will see some policies, and we begin to see it. We begin to see it. But I think on economy, Tinubu is going to make significant changes from what we witnessed under Buhari. But that is the worst in the history of Nigeria. All indices of economy, if I'm that, people may say we have COVID, we have this, we have that. Yes, we have them. But the economic policies of Buhari failed. Even the last one of the Emefiele currency change. Do you know the billions of dollars Nigeria and Nigerians lost within that period? You don't know the number of people that lost their lives. When people lost their lives, does not mean that they've died. Some people have not died, but their business have collapsed. You even said that you closed the border. Yes, you closed the border. But people are now selling Nigerian products to us as foreign products. It is not about closing the border. Are you getting that? It's about having the policy that works in line with that closure of border. That will ensure that the masses benefit the purpose of the closure. So, in terms of economy, I expect Tinubu to make significant changes. But it's going to be a full-blown capitalist activities. the money may flow, but it's like open a small hole for money to come into the people, and it's go back to the ruling elite the other side. And on the issue of insecurity, I wish he gets it right with his appointees, especially the service chiefs, because I expect him, to change all these service chiefs. And again, yes, the let me say part of insecurity. The issue that occurred between DSS and the EFCC is it's a fantastic intervention. I applaud him over that, because that has always been one of the major problems we have. Interagencies crisis. Police fighting civil defense, army fighting air force fighting navy, EFCC fighting DSS fighting NIA. And when you now have interagency crisis, the major problem is that we call it confidential information will be leaking out. And all these things is not for the interest of the people. Ego, glory. I want to claim the glory, so that they not become the public embarrassment. That is why DSS can only barge into anybody's compound, turning themselves to police. The same thing with the military. So if Tinubu could be able to address that issues and ensure that all these people work together as a team with the one goal of securing the lives and property of Nigerians, I think it's going to make significant achievement in terms of insecurity. And again, his capacity to talk to different groups that are agitating for one thing or the other. This is not the time to say Yoruba nations agitators are this, IPOB are this. This is the time to bring everybody on table. What are your demands? What are your demands? But their demand have to be for the people, not personal demand. But that's one of the things that affect the amnesty program. It's about the individuals, not about the society. That's why some people make billions, some did not make anything. And the people that did not make anything and they know they have the resources, they have money, they have everything, they come back. And in terms of his appointments, he should be able to balance it, to appeal to the reasonings every regions. Again, that to be able to appeal to every regions. So I think if he could put all those things in places and take that stand, and is the president, he has the power. This is not a time to entertain rubbish from any leader of MDAs. Unlike Buhari regime that asked the police chief to go somewhere and they refuse to go. The president gives you an order and you refuse to carry it out. You are gone like subsidy. You have gone that day like subsidy. So this is not the time to accommodate inefficiency. This is the time to set the targets and ensure compliance after your standard operating procedure, your SOP, and that everybody works in line with that. So I think it's starting well because the meeting held with service chiefs, he reiterated that thing that I want you all to work together. And aside from working together, I think they said he gave them a marching order to ensure there's the issue of killing is tapped out. But that is not enough. getting them the adequate equipment, getting them the appropriate training, especially the police, because they are the closest security outfits to the people. They need to carry out reform of our policing system. So on security, I think he should be able to, and with this is a vice president, Setima. Setima does not need to go and open any book to understand the Boko Haram and bandits, whatever. He was a governor when Boko Haram speak of their operations. So I think if they work with sincerity of purpose, they should be able to make significant. And when they are be able to stabilize the economy, it's another thing. The proceeds of this subsidy removal, if they invest it for the interest of the people, it's another thing. Because first thing, there's no way to hit. The salary of the workers to be increased. And I don't know how they want to do it to appeal to the reasoning of NLC. Maybe they will now come out, yes, we are going to reverse this thing. Or they show commitment to the demands of the labor. Because if they are starting this government with strike and protest, it's going to affect a lot of things. Because I remember in 2012, when our protest got a certain stage, the problem is no longer the fuel. The problem is that vegetables are not coming from the north to down here. We now go to the stage where we are not eating eba and gbegiri. Do you know how we prepare that gbegiri? You just get your beans, beans, you can get beans anywhere. We have our beans. You now buy tomato paste and kurubusu, curry pepper. You mix it together, you prepare. There's no elubo to prepare amala. The only thing available is gari. So eba and gari. So people now get tired. NLC, labor, please leave our streets. We are tired. But many people have died. Many people died. Nigeria lost billions of dollars. So I don't know how the government is going to do it. Because already they've ambushed us. They ambushed the labor. So they have between today and Tuesday. So, and that also will have effect on insecurity. Because when there is no peace and harmony in the society, it breeds criminals in the society. People will now start to be knocking at people's house with guns. But it cannot be as Buhari. And in fairness to Buhari, in terms of infrastructure, I think Buhari has laid ground, may not be to their expectation. But because the issue of road transport system, it is very, very essential to move our economy forward. The issue of road, there are some major roads he was able to do. But another scary part of it is the debt profile of Nigeria. And that is one reason one may think that subsidy cannot continue. Because we continue to borrow money to fund subsidy. Whether Nigeria is broke, Nigeria is not broke. It's what they tell us we take. Because these are people that are not ready to negotiate or to dialogue with people. Well, in a nutshell, the insecurity, to get it right, is a function of fairness and justice to every tribes or every region in the country. Training of security personnel. Reformation of policing system in the country. And adequate funding. I think if those you should be able to get security better than Buhari time. So that's what I think we should expect, but people should lower their expectation.
People should lower their expectation. Buhari is not coming to perform any miracle. I mean, Tinubu is not coming to perform any miracle. So that's just it.